Now we are going to have another quick session, and I am going to introduce Mr. Eswar Prasad Manapuram. Hopefully, I said correctly. And Eswar is, you can say, agile aficionado, possessing over a decade of rich real-time experience in the agile space, more than 17 years of experience. And at the same time, he focuses on the importance of context, use of common sense, which is true essence of agility. Utilize situational leadership in optimizing solution value. There are so many things have been written. So rather than I will say so many things, I would prefer let Mr. Ishwar talk about himself as well as the topic of the day. Thanks a lot. Just give me a second. In the meantime, Amol sir, can you bring up the session deck?
So today we'll be talking about the true essence of agility in the state of the at Indian startup landscape. How many of you are entrepreneurs here? Okay, all right. It resonates very well with entrepreneurs. So, okay, I'll be going through this, 5 sets of things. So, I think for the past few years, what we are seeing is a lot of uncertainty, right? We are in this VUCA world, and now the new acronym came, which is called BUNNY, right? Brittle, anxious, non-linear, incongruent, isn't it? So, no matter how many acronyms come, right, the fact of the matter is that we are still in a very uncertain world, and it's very difficult to predict anything, right? Now, if you have seen, right, the COVID and after that the war tensions between Russia and Ukraine, yeah, and many other things. In probably 2023 quarter one was when a lot of tech layoffs happened, right? So it's very evident that we are all staying in a very uncertain world. So now, what is the solution to overcome this uncertainty? Any quick responses from anyone here? How to overcome uncertainty? Nice. That's a very good thing. Uh-huh. Very nice. Okay. So how to overcome this turbulent situation? Like few of you said, so we'll have to be an adaptive learning organization, right? And then a disruptive leadership is the need of the hour, right? And also agile business. So business agility, probably the first 2 points also fall under the third one, right? In if you have seen SAFe or other frameworks, right? Pretty much the first two aspects fall under the um, business agility aspect, right? But have you noticed that there is a lot of gyan that is given everywhere about what part, right? You have to do this, that, but how you do it, right? Even in interviews, if you see, right, what part everyone does really well, but when it comes to how you do it, right? Empowering people or how to build trust, that is the real challenge, right? The how part is the most difficult one, right? Now, how you achieve the above? To me, right, I am not against any frameworks or anything, but then to me, it's very important that we'll have to fall back on common sense, understand the context, and core competency. These are the three constructs which are very important and very underrated. Do you think common sense is so easy? It's not that easy, especially when you are in a highly stressful environment, right? All these frameworks that you have, right? Agile or waterfall, whatever it is, they really don't make much sense. What you fall back on is the application of common sense. Notice, take any situation when leadership comes to you, when there is a huge escalation from the customer, right? At that particular point in time, you will fall back on your common sense more than anything else, right? That is the fight or flight response that kicks in. So common sense is not so common, and it's not so easy to deliver also. Speaking of context, no matter which industry you go, right? It's been like 9 to 10 industries I worked so far. One common thing that I'm seeing across all the industries is the usage of contextual understanding. If you don't understand the context, right, there's no point using any methodology or anything. Context is the king, right? When it comes to, let's say, aviation or railway industry, safety is very important, right? So it all depends on, you cannot use a one size fit all strategy anywhere. That is where context comes into play, right? And the last one is core competency. And this is something that I would like you all to reflect on. Okay? For example, at our homes, right, when we were young, so our parents would know whom to give which work, isn't it? There were times that, I was told, we are three siblings, and I was given certain amount of type of work, and my brother was given certain types of work, right? Similarly, my sister was given different type of work. Why is it? You heard of STP, right? Segmentation, targeting, positioning. If you are an MBA grad here, you would know these terms, right? So in marketing, STP is you segment the market, target it, and then position it. I'm talking about the positioning aspect here. So core competency is something that is, specific to an individual. Not everyone has, the equal set of skills, right? Each one is different, and it's very important to identify your core competency. So given these three aspects, you will be able to, overcome the turbulent situation. We'll see more in the context of startups. Okay. Now, let's focus our attention towards startups. The reason is, startups are the future established companies, right? So Tata's, anywhere for that matter, right? They were once upon a time startups. So if you get things right in the first place, then it will really help you in terms of sustainability also, right? So startups are characterized by what? Chaos, agility, and disruption. You all agree, right? Not much? Yeah, that's there. Agility in the sense, to me, right, agility is the flexibility definition, right? The pure English definition of agility is flexibility, right? That is the flexible aspect that I have seen in startups. I haven't seen in other, established organizations. It's all very red carpetism, right? And there are a set of so many rules, right? Processes, workflows in established companies. But in those terms, right, I think startups are more flexible here. And we will hear this straight from the horse's mouth in some time. Okay, so we will be dealing with these aspects here today. Startup challenges and solutions, and how project management methodologies can be employed in startups. Okay. Okay, so what we did was, we rolled out a survey. Unfortunately, I realized that I didn't put on the survey questionnaire here, but there was a 20-point questionnaire. Okay. This survey was rolled out to all the startup founders across India. Not just one location for that matter, all founders across India. Now, we did some quantitative and qualitative analysis to see, whatever I was talking about, right? The agility, chaos, and all those concepts are really falling in place. Now, these are the demographic details that we took, and all these 49 startups are registered. They are all registered startups. Okay, and we'll see the results. And in order to analyze the results, right, this is the novel model that we came up with. Okay. So I think pretty much majority of you are aware of design thinking, right? Here. So the design thinking, you have these two diamonds, double diamonds. One is the problem space and the other is the solution space, right? So this model you can use anywhere, for that matter, your personal, professional, anywhere. So what this model basically does is, first we collate all the challenges faced by the startups. Since I'm talking from a startup perspective here, the context is startup. So the first thing is you are collating all the challenges faced by the startup founders. Okay? And as you know, right, there are many challenges across various dimensions. And these are the dimensions that you see. SETITUP. Okay? Service, external, technology. Yeah, by the way, majority are technology related startups. So that is why we have this special dimension of technology. And these are the various dimensions in which the challenges are elicited from the founders. Okay. And now what we are doing is, so this is the first diamond, it's diverging, right? The first part of it is diverging. So you collate all the challenges, you create a bucket list of all your challenges, okay? And then you prioritize them based on customer and business need, right? And that is where the convergence is happening for the first diamond, problem space. And you pick only 3 to 4 problems that need to be addressed, right? And then you work on the solutions. And for each problem, you will have n number of solutions, right? So you'll have to prioritize on shortlisting the solutions. So that is where the convergence is happening there. Okay. And finally, assess the outcomes and continuously improve. Got it? So if you can visualize this model, you can use it for your day-to-day activities also. For your personal life, professional life, whichever industry you are in, right? You can use this model. Start collating the challenges, shortlist, prioritize them, work on them, continuously adapt and improve. Okay? Okay. So based on this analysis, the results that we saw, okay, so these are the findings based on startup founders' responses. So the questionnaire had a list of questions, like which project management methodology you are using, right? And are business outcomes closely related to the project management methodologies, okay? And how important is the contextual understanding, and does it overweigh the project management methodologies? So these are a few of the questions that we have in the survey. And it's important for me to mention that majority of the survey participants are introductory startups, okay? Early stage startups. And very few are in growth stage and in matured stage. So based on the findings, if you see, right, majority chose lean, agile, project management or hybrid. So in this uncertain world, going back to the first slide, right, it's very evident that, you know, startups employ the hybrid model or a tailored approach rather than, you know, using the Scrum guide or anything like a Bible, right? And hybrid, as you know, right, bringing the best of the two worlds. So probably that is suiting the startups really well. And the second finding here is 9 out of 10 feel that business outcomes are closely related to project management methodologies. Okay. Few might argue that many startups won't even use project management, right? Or whatever methodology we have. But that's not scalable. If you see, as your team size is increasing, right, and other factors are coming. So you'll have to have some method to your madness, right? So that is when a startup can become scalable, scale up, right? 8 out of 10 agree that contextual understanding outweighs project management methodology. This is very important. Okay? So, what this means is, it doesn't matter which methodology you are using. If you have proper contextual understanding, right, you will have proper business outcomes. Okay? And the last point, if you see, 9 out of 10 say common sense is more important than the methodology. This is also very interesting, right? I know people who are strong supporters of, SAFe or other frameworks won't agree with this maybe, but then the fact of the matter is that, common sense is usually underrated, and it is more important than the methodology that you are using. See, I have seen many companies spend so much money on transformations. Okay? Honestly, there were certain companies where the need for transformation was also not very clear. Still, they just wanted to jump into the bandwagon effect, right? They were jumping into the bandwagon. Just because my competitor company is doing, I'll also bring in my transformation. Are you sure? Will it really help? So that feasibility analysis is very important. Right? Now the inferences here, as we already discussed, right? Founder's choice of PMM suggests we need agile leadership, or tailoring is very important. Every organization's context is different, every business context is different, every project context is different, every team's context is different, right? So that is where you need a lot of tailoring. But you should know how much of this process tailoring is also needed. There should be a right balance between the two. Right? And the inherent chaos in startups can be navigated using agile PMM, resulting in effective business outcomes. And we already saw the last 2 points. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. Now this is the qualitative analysis. So there were many founders that gave so many comments, and these are probably the most interesting comments that I have seen. Okay. So one of the questions, survey questions had, what are the top 2 biggest challenges that your startup is facing? So the choice was project management or process issues, and the other one is prioritizing time to market versus quality. Okay? I think this resonates very well with many of you. You don't have to be a startup for this. Even in our organizations, I think this is very clear, right? Now, considering these startups are in growth stage, the one that gave is from the growth stage, right? We can infer that the challenges are encountered during the strategy execution phase. See, it's very important. We have seen in 2023, one of the HBR, Harvard Business Review articles, they were saying that 70% of startups fail because of a lack of proper execution. They probably might have a wonderful strategy in place, but then the execution is the problem. Right? So when I speak about strategy execution, right, that is where all these project management methodologies, common sense, contextual understanding comes into play, right? And the second point is uncharted territories navigated in agile space. So this is a very interesting comment that we had. Most of the startups, if you see, right, remember I was talking about disruptive leadership in the beginning, right? If you continue to do the same work, right, as the other speakers have mentioned, we can have AI, right, do that. So we'll have to do something differently, right? Now here is where I wanted to clearly point out that, the usually startups, especially the introductory ones, focus on prioritizing funding, right? They prioritize funds. So lack of funding probably is the biggest challenge, at least in India, for the startups, right? Now you will see altogether a different perception from this startup founder. This startup prioritizes people over profits, and explains that in the process of doing this, profits are incurred as byproducts. Okay? You run after money. Forget for that matter startup, right? You take up any business or do something, right? You keep running after money, it will go away. It will not come to you. Focus on your vision, right? And this vision, if it involves all three P's, what are three P's? People, planet, profit. I would like to say profit as the last one. So if you start focusing on people, planet is the environment, and then the profit, right? You will automatically start earning profits. This is the secret source of, many, not just startups who became unicorns, but even the established companies who were once startups. Okay, so traditionally, if you keep thinking, for a startup to grow, right, I need funds, I want to make money. Money is my North Star. Revenues are my North Star. It won't help. If your underlying vision benefits society, people, right, that is when money will come to you as a byproduct. So, a similar topic, I was giving a lecture in IIT Madras recently. And many of them didn't agree with this statement. Because business is all about profits, right? We are doing business to gain profits. But trust me, if you keep that only as your North Star, you will never hit that goal. Even if you hit it, right, that's not sustainable. Okay, so in order to get long-term benefits, focus on people and planet. Now, the other, we prioritize fundamentals and emphasize establishing a robust foundation. Okay, I think we already discussed this. Okay, to resolve market validation issues, what this founder did was, and the team for that matter, we fine-tuned our product to precisely address these needs, creating a solution that resonated strongly with our prospective users. Now, in this case, Agile helped quite a lot for this startup to become resilient. Right? And resilience is the epitome of agility and innovation. Right? See, it's very important that, once everyone fail, right? You fail, I fail. And it's very important that you get up and keep working. That is called resilience, right? If you accept failure, that's the end of it, right? So resilience is very important. No matter what venture you go through, right? If it is a startup or anything, failure is very common. Once you fail, if you just fall down and don't come back again, then it's all over, right? So we have seen that resilience is the epitome of agility and innovation being one. Remember the house of lean, we had 4 pillars and one of it is innovation. So for the current volatile times that we have, there are 2 most important things all companies should keep in mind. Yeah? One is environmental sustainability. The other is this AML. If you don't incorporate these 2 dimensions in your strategy, right, you are bound to maybe not fail, but your operating models won't be sustainable. At some point in time, you'll have to get into integrating environmental sustainability. Remember the other P that I was talking about, planet. Right? You'll have to start integrating this in your business strategy overall. Okay, so and since this platform, the track is transformation, right? Agile in startups. So the last founder's comments really resonates very well here. So here is the conclusion. So these are the 4 takeaways from this talk. The first one is findings of the survey of 49 startups across India, right? reveal that disruptive agile leadership is the need of the hour. If you keep doing the same thing, right, you will end up nowhere. We'll have to think intuitively, very differently, like the other startup, right? Don't go after money, but chase your vision that will help the society. That's very important. Point number two, results reflect that agile is the unanimous choice. Results were saying agile and hybrid models, but one of the founders commented that hybrid is what? Bringing the best of two worlds, right? Even that is the essence of agility. That's why hybrid is a kind of umbrella that is under the umbrella of agile. Point number three, context and common sense emerge as the new constructs of agility. I know we spend a lot of money, right? Companies spend a lot of money on transformations and everything. Those are important, no denying that. But the fact that, the usage of common sense and context, if you fail to use these two constructs, right, all your methodologies will go down the drain. The last one, an agile mindset with a focus on triple bottom line, people, planet, profit, is the success recipe for startups as well as for any endeavor that you want to take up. Yeah? Now I'm open for questions. Yeah, by the way, I'm working as a program manager in Alstom. I came all the way from Bangalore. And I was working in the agile space for the last 10 years. And now I moved to this V model. And even it's quite interesting. I'm trying to bring in some agile aspects there. Yeah. Okay, any questions? Go ahead, sir. Yes, verification and validation. Alstom is into railway industry, right? So it builds safety critical applications. So right. 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 So we are exactly. Yeah. And the problem that we are facing is we are unable to marry the agility aspects with the safety aspects. See, just like the shift left concept we have, right? Detect defects early on in the life cycle, that will help you reduce your costs in future. Similarly, if you can get the safety aspects built initially, that will really help you, especially in safety critical applications like aviation, railways, pharma, these domains.
Electronic control unit for diagnostic systems, which are, I would say, semi-safety critical.
Right.
Especially the ADAS is a very safety critical.
Right.
Braking systems or the ABS.
Anti-braking system. Yeah.
Safety critical.
Right.
In that space, I think what work for us is especially the lean phase, it's not
Right.
purely agile.
Right.
But it's more about get agility in hardware development is a very big task.
Exactly. Right.
I think Tesla has cracked that.
Exactly.
You happen to read the Tesla story.
Right.
And especially a combination of a startup and something like a long life cycle, like the safety critical.
Right.
Can you actually shed some like intel on how that works? Like, being a startup, it is again you are in the moving movement, you are in that chaos mode, but you have to also handle a more process-oriented industry like safety critical. You have a lot of compliance regulations.
Right. So basically, Alstom is not a startup, right? It's into the corporate world for the last 95 years now. But the survey results, right? Some of the founders that I worked with. So initially, right, introductory phase that you have. So for pure software companies, it's very easy to employ any methodology. That's what they are saying. I did survey in organization as well, and I wanted to compare both. By the way, I'm pursuing my PhD also in parallel in this topic. So yeah, I wanted to compare both and see where we are. It's startups is a totally different game altogether. Yeah. Right. 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 Right.
But I would like to make a comment on what you just said. Because Tesla is not a shining example of safety.
Okay.
Right? So you have to be a bit careful there. Because it's so easy to say, oh, Tesla. But it's for safety.
It's an example of agility, but not necessarily safety.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that.
This is the problem we are facing in Alstom. That's what I was mentioning, right?
Sorry, just on a previous state, do you people use Alstom is a French company?
Yes, French based.
Do they use COQ, COQ? There's something called COQ. It's a programming language.
Cost of quality. COQ is what you said. Oh, programming language. Okay. Uh-huh.
That's my knowledge. My knowledge is very weak.
I didn't come across that, but maybe they might be using in other portfolios. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Question which they had raised. So, for the safety, we are also from a agriculture and construction domain. So, what we have found that advocating about safety in different forums that helps. And in India specifically, what I have seen is in the last 2 years. Back then, when I purchased my first car, that safety belt warning was just for the drivers. And in 4 years, when one of the other relatives purchased car, the warning started appearing for the passenger safety also. And in the last 1 year, there was a regulation to have safety airbags in all the 6 airbags. First, it was 2 airbags. Now it is 6 as a standard equipment in all the models, right from base. So that's about the passenger cars. So what about the trucks? Because that's where the cost matters a lot. Now there also the regulations have came in to have AC cabins as well as full in-house cabins and safety. So what we found from that is, if we collaborate with the regional authorities who mandate those restrictions, they help to fasten that safety things in the. So I'm just talking about safety aspects.
That's regular because I remember TUV Rhineland is one of the place where you get a certification.
Yeah,
Safety
correct.
certification. So my main point was, when we are in an agile environment of recursively, the requirement changes or that model won't apply directly to such places where you need to really have long life cycles. Even if you outsource it to third party, still the span of the safety critical tests won't change so much.
Okay.
Prototyping, right?
Yeah.
You do prototyping very quickly, fast.
Just a minute. So one more example just wanted to give. My previous job was into commercial vehicle industry, Ashok Leyland. So we had a case wherein we had to introduce AdBlue, which is nothing but another introduction of to regulate the emission norms. And the regulation from the OBD was, onboard system diagnostic was, if your AdBlue level goes down below a certain level, you have to bring down the engine power by 50% because of the emission norms to save the environment. So that was criticized by everyone, including the Tatas also, who are the market leaders in commercial vehicles, and even the Volvos. But then what solution they found was they came together, convinced government that if you can shift the norms a bit ahead for 6 months or a year, and then impose those norms, we will have that breather to train our drivers and the cleaners that this is something which we have to bear the cost, and if it is not there. Similarly, the same thing happened with the scrapping policy also, vehicle scrapping policy. So in a market like India, what we noticed was it is a collaborative effort, and everything from people, government, or we can say processes, and the organization all have to play the role, especially for the safety aspects, because to drive safety aspects in India is a really big challenge. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry for taking more time.
No problem. Any further questions?
I work with someone like Union Pacific Railroad, which is the again in the journey with, I did not even know the word agile that time. I developed something like what we have handheld applications for the gang, the workers on the gang.
Right.
The gang workers basically work on the tracks. And we were developing an application for them which was on the Palm OS. Like, I'm not sure if
Right, right.
the Palm OS was,
Huh.
it was introduced and later it actually, the Android versions of it later. But Palm OS was a very old operating system for handheld devices. So I
Right.
remember like, even if it's like a large sector, the railway, but agility came to them quite ahead of time considering they wanted to build application prototypes on the handheld devices, which was also very new. You're not using a mainframe, you're not using a standard front-end, back-end device like a normal computer.
Right.
And then you want to actually test it with the gang owners, get a customer experience fast. So all the tenets of agility I saw that. Now when I developed the applications myself, but when I linked it back to agility now, it kind of reminds me that they were quite ahead of time in terms of customer response. The workers, the gang workers were actually using the handheld device, giving feedback. Prototype cycle was quite fast.
Right,
And
right.
again, it was again the safety critical because it had to also sense that the tracks are open and empty, etc. So very interestingly you brought back that memories.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I think time is telling us to stop. If you have some more question, he is here around. I think you can just connect with him and have some more chit chats, some more discussions. It's a really wonderful session, right? And like so many people are asking questions, so no need to say that's interesting one, right? So I'll request Srinivas to give a word of thanks and the memento to Eswar. Before that, if you want to say something.
Oh yeah. So this is for you, Eswar. And I'm sorry I stepped in a bit late. Yeah, thank you. But I did enjoy a talk, and also I'm very appreciative that you're trying to do this research, because I don't know about others, but I've been on the sidelines of conducting these surveys in a serious manner, and it's very difficult. Is follow-ups and all that. So, a lot of appreciation, and thanks for bringing that knowledge to all of us.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you all. Now we'll have a common session. Before that, there will be a tea break, and then we'll have a common session in the main hall.